Hey, this is Paul. I was just gonna go over my Ultimate Masters draft. So Friday night was the Ultimate Masters release, and went down to the local game store, and there were a ton of people there, and a couple dudes were opening like up boxes beforehand. There's a bunch of people like buying individual packs, and it was pretty fun to see. I think a guy got like a foil demonic tutor out of his like individual booster pack, and another kid got like Snapcaster Mage. This was a lot of fun. People were like super excited, and we had I think 26 people come out. We had a pot of 10, a pot of 8, and then another pot of either 8 or 10. I don't know exactly. Yeah, so it was like a big crew, and we all sat down to draft Ultimate Masters. It was pretty fun. So I was just gonna go over what some of my picks were and how the draft went. So first thing first, pick one, pack one. I'm excited. I know I'm gonna open up like a foil Karn or Emrakul, something really fun like that. And instead, I opened up. I don't even have the card to show you because I didn't take it. I opened up Dig for Time, which is like a blue instant with Delve where you get to pick 2 cards out of the next 8 for your hand. And basically, I didn't even pick the rare out of my first pack. Instead, I got Phalanx Leader, which is, I think, one of the best cards in the Heroic deck. Basically, whenever you cast a spell at target it, you get 1/1 on each other creature you control. So you get to do some awesome stuff. Then, with my next pick, I don't really know what I got. I think I got some like blue or black card I didn't really play. After that, I got Flight of Fancy, which is a cool. It gives a creature flight when you enchant it with it, and you get to draw 2 cards when it comes in. So it's like a pretty sweet spell, even if it's an aura. Once you get to cast it, you're getting 2 cards back, so I like it. And then I got God's Willing, which is really good for the Heroic deck because it protects your creature from their removal spell. But then I just stopped seeing any white and blue cards. I basically wasn't getting anything. So I slowly was picking up these black cards. And I kind of thought maybe I'd be black, blue going into pack 2. And I had a couple random red cards. Like I had taken this like foil. I had taken a foil Seismic Assault, which was pretty cool. But I didn't think I could really play that because it was triple red. So then going into pack 2, I was pretty pumped because I knew I was going to open up a bomb card. And I finally did. I got Noble Hierarch, which was awesome. But I think I had 0 green cards at this point. So I wasn't looking to play green. Then I started picking up more red and black cards, and eventually I got a foil Root Walla, which was pretty cool, but basically I wasn't in any of these colors. All my first couple picks were not helpful, and I ended up in like a pretty sweet red-black deck. I saw people complaining that they didn't get removal, and that there wasn't enough removal on the set. I think it's because maybe I got all the removal. I got 2 Unholy Hungers, which are pretty awesome. They just destroy target creature. A little gravy on there. If you have Spell Mastery, you get 2 life each. And 2 Shriek Maws, which are awesome. You can evoke them to kill a creature early, or you can just play them to destroy a non-black creature. So those are both awesome cards. Then I had 2 Fiery Tempers, which were really cool too, because they do 3 damage to any target, and you can Madness it, and I had a lot of Madness going on, and that was pretty fun to get some value out of discarding cards. And then the last 2, I got Elastic Grasp, which was great for dealing with small stuff, and it was an instant, which is important, because when you're playing against those enchantment decks, the heroic decks I was talking about before, you need to have removal available on their turn, so you can get the 2 for 1. I had Soul's Fire, which is kind of like a Savage Punch type of card where you're fighting, except your creature doesn't take any damage, so it's super powerful. So I had like 8 very good removal spells. I was very happy. So I was able to control the board with that. And then let's move on. I told you I was doing Madness, so let's go on to the way you enable Madness, is having discard spells. I had Faithless Looting, which was awesome. It's 1 red mana, so you still have you can still have the rest of your mana up to cast your Madness spells. But even if you don't, just being able to filter through your deck is really underrated and limited. It's super good. There's a lot of times where you're digging for a specific card, and this in the late game lets you go through 4 cards. Then I had 2 Olivia's Dragoons. These were probably the Madness All-Stars because they let you discard whenever for 0 cost. I would have played probably 2 more of these if I could, but they just weren't coming around to me. And then I had Spark Spitter. And Spark Spitter creates like a little elemental. Somewhere I have the token. Yeah, it creates this 3/1 elemental token, Trample and Haste, and you can do some like wicked damage with it. And even if you don't, you can get some value off of it. You can do it on defense, and you can do it just to cast a Madness card. So let's get into the payoffs for Madness. Why did I want a Madness? Well, Twins of Mauer State, I had 2 of them, which it makes sense because they're twins. You have to take 2 of them, otherwise you're not allowed to play them. It's like a crime against twins. And in this set, a 3/5 is super powerful. It doesn't die to much, and it kills a ton of things. Being a 3/5 is awesome. And then with Madness and like a Dragoon or a Spark Spitter, you can flash this in when they're attacking and just eat one of their creatures. It's awesome. Then I had not as good one, Grave Scrabbler. It's basically a 2/2 for 4, but you can Madness it for 1 and a black, and it turns into like a Grave Robber, where you actually get a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Unfortunately, I was forced to play this as just a 2/2 for 4 like twice, and it felt really bad, but what are you going to do? Then I had this Worm. It's a 4/4 Madness, 2 and a red, and it has Trample. Just like the Twins, a 4/4 is really big in this format, so it was crushing. It was very worthwhile. And then my last big Madness payoff card, of course, besides the Fiery Tempers, is Malevolent Whispers. It has Madness, and you basically steal one of their creatures for the turn, and it gets +2/+0. But when you Madness it, you can do it on their turn. So they can attack with 2 creatures. You can steal one and actually block their creature with their own creature, and they end up killing their own dude. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty sweet. The dude kind of looks like Hugh Jackman. I don't know how well he's turning up on camera. He looks like a little devil whispering into Hugh Jackman's ear. So it's even better. Then to round out the deck, I just had some pretty decent regular cards. So I had Gurmag Angler. 5/5 is huge. It's got Delve, so you can play it earlier than turn 7, which is what it would cost normally. I had Garna, the Blood Flame, so you get to return any card that goes to the graveyard from anywhere this turn, which was super useful with discarding and with just trading in combat. I had Firewing Phoenix to 4/2, but you can get it back late game. This was really nice if you're playing those grindy matchups. A lot of times you'd have the board stalled with a bunch of ground creatures, and a 4/2 trades with their flyer and then comes back next turn. It's pretty good. This card was really impressive. They're the Iguanars. I guess I like drafting 2 of every card. It's kind of a Noah's Ark deck. And anytime a creature dies, this deals 1 damage to a player or planeswalker. I never faced a planeswalker, but it was really good. It just was able to chip away at their life total and prevent a sense of inevitability. And it was a really good combo with Spark Spitter. So each turn I was creating a creature and pinging them for 1 with Iguanar. So that was super nice. Then I had a Ghoul Caller. It's just a 2/2 for 2, but you can exile it later to make another 2/2. Sometimes you just need filler cards, and in a set like this, a 2/2 with upside is like your bottom line, which is kind of why Ultimate Masters is fun. You're never playing with bad cards. Even your worst cards are like pretty decent. And then I was lucky, I got a little piece of fixing. Lava Claw reaches. You can activate it to deal, to become a 2/2 with fire breathing, basically. And I actually did it a couple times, and it was super useful in closing out games. Yeah, it's a real threat in the late game. So that was my deck. I was really happy with it. I didn't end up playing Seismic Assault. I didn't end up playing another copy of Gurmag Angler. I'll show you the rest of the cuts too. I didn't play Guildmage because I didn't have blue, and the discard ability just wasn't that good. Fume Spitter, I didn't play, even though putting a -1/-1 counter on like one of their persist creatures could have been pretty useful. I had the Shred Freak. I just didn't think I was that aggressive. I'd rather just play a better card than a 2/1, even if it has haste. I had these Crows. I was planning on bringing these in against a deck with a lot of flyers. Just never came up. Grave Strength was some sort of like pump your creature up. It seems pretty weak. If you wanted to fill your graveyard with dredge cards, that'd be good. But in my draft, I didn't see... The only dredge cards I saw was Darkmoor Salvage, whatever it is, the like black dredge land, and I was not getting anything that this would help enable. This would help get dredgers in the yard, and I just never had dredgers. I had Bloodflow Connoisseur. Sacrifice a creature, put a 1/1 counter on Bloodflow Connoisseur. I think there's like a sweet combo with this card and Shizo's Caretaker, but I never saw Shizo's Caretaker, or if I did, it was when I was taking another card, like a rare or something. So I never really got to make that combo, so I had one piece, but it wasn't worth playing alone. I had Undying Rage, which could have been good if I had a couple of those heroic cards. There's like Arena Athlete and a Crowan Hoplite, but I didn't end up with those, and I don't think it would have been as good as the rest of my cards in my deck. And then I had this card. This is a card that probably came closest to making it, would be Scuzzback Marauders. A 5/2 is just giant in this format. It trades with pretty much every creature that isn't a rare. And it comes back, so you get a 4/1 after that. So it's like getting 2 cards for the price of 1. Most games were going to turn 5, so it wouldn't have been hard to play. But I guess I just didn't really think about it. And when I saw other people played against me, I realized maybe I should have played it. Alright. So, I guess you want to see what happened. In the first round, I played against one of those Boggles decks that was green and blue, so it had a lot of cards like this. I had a couple white cards too. And basically I was able to just beat them up. Like, by the time they were casting their important enchantments, I had Unholy Hunger, or I could Shriekmaw it before, Shriekmaw early before they had any enchantments on it, and then later wait for them to put an enchantment on their new creature and Unholy Hunger it. And because that Boggles deck or Heroic deck doesn't run enough creatures, because it's got so many enchantments, if you just kill a couple creatures, and I had like 8 removal spells, it was pretty easy, you're able to kind of grind the game out. And by the time they had a really good card, you know, I had Iguanars go on, I had a bunch of other creatures on the board, I was able to get value and beat them out. But then in round 2, I faced a really cool deck. It was basically my deck, except it was mono red. And because of that, he was able to play his copy. So he had the Iguanars, he had Spark Spitter, which was awesome. And then he had Malevolent Whisper and a couple Reckless Worms, and the Reckless Worms were great. He had a couple Fiery Tempers, which were awesome because he was just discarding them to make these trample tokens. And then he had the rare that I had, the one that lets you discard lands for 2 damage each. Gosh, where did I put it? Oh, Seismic Assault. So he had this, which kind of, you might think it's dumb, right? Because you're paying 3 mana to do nothing. But later in the game, every land you draw is basically a free shock. So he was able to kill a lot of my creatures because, I mean, if you look, a lot of my creatures are only 2 toughness. So basically, in the late game, every card he was drawing was was really good for him, and every card I was drawing, I had like a 30% shot to draw a land, which didn't do anything. So I had a couple close games with him, but he was able to totally crush me. And just being mono red and having all the right payoffs was really, really good for him. I was kind of jealous of his deck. It's pretty sweet. So then in the third round, I was 1-1, and I got paired up against a guy that was 2-0. So I was like, not super excited. I was gonna lose to this dude, but I didn't think I had to lose to this dude, But I thought I should get to play someone who was 1-1 like me. But when you got weird, like 10, 11 person pods, you're gonna get that. So I ended up playing him, and I think I had like a Dragoon out, I had a Twins out, and I definitely had Iguanar. And on like turn 5, I think I had him down to like 10 life. Turn 6 to get him to 6 life, and he plays Sigarda. So I can't kill it. I've got like 2 dead removal cards in my hand. I can't kill it. Can't really do anything, but at least he can't gain life, really. So I attack with everything and get him down to like 4, I think. And then he plays Mahatma Jin, which is like a giant blue flyer. So he's able to block pretty much everything on my board because I had already killed one of my creatures attacking into his Sigarda the turn before. So then my big plan the next turn was to Malevolent Whispers their Jin and attack with everything. So then he played like Ruined Halo on Hissing Iguanar. So then it took away my ability to Alpha Strike with Hissing Iguanar because that was 3 damage I wasn't going to get. And it ruined that my chump blocks would give him damage because basically the Ruined Halo prevented all damage from Hissing Iguanar. So I thought I was maybe going to lose, and then I think I ended up drawing a Fiery Temper. So I Malevolent Whispered, attacked, and then discarded this to deal damage to them. So it was a pretty close game. I was really stoked. I was up 1-0. And then we start playing game 2, which was really funny. So it started out with an Olivia's Dragoon, like usual. And then I played the Worm. So I had like 6 power on board, and I was attacking him. So it was 18, then he was down to 12. And I was feeling pretty good. And he is stuck on like 3 lands, but they're all white, so he can't do anything. And eventually he ends up being able to kill something with some spell, I don't remember. And I end up with like 2 creature cards in play. I'm thinking like, alright, I'm doing pretty good. I just really, I'd like to draw a removal because then I could kill any of his blockers. And I go in my deck and I draw the next card. And the next card I draw was, where is it? It was like a card that wasn't even supposed to be in my deck. I drew it was a green enchantment, and I draw it, and I'm like, oh no. I accidentally, I sleeved it up because it was worth money, and I accidentally drew it in the middle of my limited game with 0 ways to cast a green card, and I was just like, oh no. But luckily, next turn, he didn't draw another land, and I ended up just attacking twice and winning. So it didn't really matter, but it was pretty funny that I didn't pay attention and had accidentally sideboarded in like a rare draft card. So that's the dangers of rare drafting. If you draft rare cards, maybe sleeve them in a different color sleeve so you don't accidentally put them in your limited deck. But overall, it was a really fun time. People were like super pumped. They were talking about all the cards they pulled, about the cool interactions they were finding. There's a big who is going to get the most Eldrazi out. People were talking about. I saw someone get a Crusher out, and somebody had I think it was Artisan of Kozilek, but no one managed to cheat that out. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. Brought out a lot of players. I was surprised, and some people that had never played anything other than Guilds of Ravnica, and some people that have been playing for 15 years. So it was really cool. It was a fun thing. I think the set was a huge hit. People really enjoyed it, and I'd draft it again. Well, hope you liked my story, and have a good one.